Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the Mighty Jingles, and I've got a good one for you today. Well, hopefully I have a good one for you most days. This is Dead Tricks in the Jägerü, the Jagdpanzer E100 Tier 10 German tank destroyer, armed with this rather large 170mm gun. How's everybody finding the new graphics engine in World of Tanks 1.0, by the way? It's been a week or more now. Is anybody even noticing that the graphics have changed? Has everybody gotten used to it by now? I have to admit, it's still quite new to me. The novelty hasn't quite worn off yet, but, well, it's only a matter of time. So, beginning of the game, the team splits more or less evenly. We've got about 4 or 5 tanks heading up the eastern flank, Dead Tricks included, about 4 or 5 tanks heading up the western flank, and 4 or 5 tanks securing the middle. Now, while this means that the team are not concentrating all of their eggs in one basket, what it should mean in theory is that if the enemy team all push either west, east or centre en masse, there should be enough tanks in place to at least contain the thrust and give the rest of the team time to react and relocate. In theory. But that's going to depend on 2 things. First, the tanks that do get overwhelmed are going to have to realise that they're getting overwhelmed and will have to start playing defensively rather than attempting to continue to attack. And secondly, the rest of the team are going to have to be paying sufficient attention to the map to recognise that one of the flanks or the centre is about to collapse and react appropriately. So, like I said, in theory. Also, at least on this side of the map, they're not really equipped to push too hard. They have a KV-4, which is a tough tank, but it's a tier 8 heavy tank, and this is a tier 10 battle. 2 tank destroyers equipped with seriously big guns, the Object 704 there in the Jägerü. There's an ISU 152 up there as well, but their Batchat has taken a serious spanking. He's already lost almost all of his health. And while that KV-4 does have some serious heavyweight fire support here in the shape of the Jägerü and the Object 704, if he runs into trouble like that Conqueror that's just been spotted and gets taken out quickly, or if these 2 tank destroyers are not able to make effective use of their firepower and support him, they're going to run into problems over here as well. Still, just 1 Conqueror spotted. And judging by the way he's playing, he's pretty much alone up there, so that's 1, maybe 2 enemy tanks on this side of the map. Have a look at the other side of the map. Yeah, that's not good. Dead Tricks has seen it, and he's turning around. He probably figures that a KV-4, an Object 704, an ISU 152, and what's left of that Batchat, if he's even still alive, oh he is for now, should be able to handle a Conqueror by themselves. Not an unreasonable assumption. He's also making the assumption, and again it's not an unreasonable assumption to make, that the 4 tanks that they have over on the western flank of the map are probably not going to last too long against the at least 8 enemy tanks. But he does stop for just long enough to take that 1 shot against the Batchat over there because, well, it was just too good an opportunity to miss. And with the shot taken, he resumes his very slow progress, but then spots another opportunity to remove an enemy gun from play. And this is probably going to mean, even if, and it's debatable, he was ever going to be fast enough to make his way over to the western flank, even reacting as soon as he did, the Jägerü just isn't really that mobile a machine. Even if he hadn't stopped to take those 2 shots, and taking those 2 shots has removed 2 enemy tanks from play, but even if he hadn't stopped to take those shots, it's likely that he wouldn't have arrived over on the western flank in time to make much of a difference. The M46 and the E75 have done remarkably well to survive as long as they have, but the M46 is down, the E75 is surrounded, and it's likely that even if Dead Tricks had headed straight over to the assistance of the E75, he probably would have arrived too late to do anything other than fall victim to that mass onslaught of enemy tanks himself. But what that E75 and M46 and the Object 430 and IS-7 that were over there with them as well, what they have done is inflicted enough damage on all of those enemy tanks over on the western flank that they're now all one-shot kills, if they weren't in the first place, for this 170mm gun. Let's just hope they all come after Dead Tricks one at a time, because regardless of how much health they have, the fastest he can possibly eliminate them, thanks to the reload on this gun, is 1 every 20 seconds. And he's about to reload, and there's the ISM, and he's a one-shot, but nope, not quite. Oh, hang on a second. T-49 in the centre. He's killed the Borsig, and he may only have 133 health left, but hey, a kill's a kill. Takes a hit from the Batchat that worked his way around to the flank, starts angling, second shot, blows his tracks off, uses his repair kit, third shot, blows his tracks off yet again. Bit of a waste of a repair kit, but he has managed to angle sufficiently that the Batchat's remaining shots do no damage, although they do keep him tracked. Tracks are back up again, pulls back just in time to deny a serious amount of damage from the T-30, who's over there in the rough direction of where the ISM was last spotted. I think it's safe to say that they know he's here. So while Dead Tricks is recovering from that very nasty fright, let's just take a look up at the northeastern end of the map, which was where he was originally headed when he started this battle, and see how that enemy Conqueror is getting along. Turns out he's getting along quite nicely. He wasn't completely alone up there, he did have artillery support, and he was joined by a Guerrilla 15, but even outnumbered 2 to 1. Good night, Mr. Batchat, but yes, even outnumbered 2 to 1, that Conqueror has managed to comprehensively spank anybody and everybody, with just the Object 704 remaining of the 4 enemy tanks that went up there to challenge him, and he's just killed the Object 704 as well. The enemy GW Tiger P, despite being spotted continuously for the best part of the last 2 minutes, has managed to not get killed by the artillery on Dead Tricks' team, so, you know, that's nice. The ISU-152 is still up there, and he's begging for artillery support because he's got an enemy tank around both sides of the corner. No matter which way he goes, he's going to get killed by somebody, and in fact, he is now dead. So this GW Tiger P has really not been much use to the team alive. On the other hand, the enemy team haven't exactly made much of the opportunity that they won to rush the western flank when there's just Dead Tricks here to stop them, and instead have basically been, well, doing that. Yeah, what's the best possible way of dealing with the Jaegeru from the front when we outnumber him 6 to 1? I know, I've got it. Let's all take turns popping out in front of him, leaving a nice good gap of at least 25 seconds between exposures. You know, just to give him a fighting chance. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, 3 of them left, but that artillery is not much use to us alive. The T-54E1, on the other hand, is in a good spot. From there, he can, well, he's got visibility over the entire southern half of the map. So, it's the Conqueror that's given Dead Tricks cold sweats and nightmares at the moment. He wants to know what that Conqueror's doing, so he's advising the T-54E1 to stay where you are. Just stay there and spot the south. T-54E1 yelling for help. Doesn't seem too confident, doesn't seem to agree with Dead Tricks' decision here. All Dead Tricks is doing here is he wants to know where that Conqueror is. The T-54E1, on the other hand, is no, over here, go over here. But Dead Tricks wants to know where that Conqueror is. And anything that the T-54E1 spots, the GW Tiger P can assist him in dealing with. Or so you'd think. Because the Dead Tricks isn't coming down here to fight the Conqueror, he just wants to know where the Conqueror is, or at the very least where the Conqueror isn't, and the Conqueror isn't down here. Unfortunately, the GW Tiger P appears to have gotten the wrong idea, and is indicating, despite the fact that Dead Tricks is backing up and turning around, that he's ready to fire up there to the north. Like I said, not much use to the team alive. There's nobody up there to spot any targets for you. There wouldn't be anybody up there in a position to spot any targets for you for at least the next minute, and unfortunately, for the T-54E1, who could probably have used a bit of artillery support, he's about to find out the hard way just exactly where that Conqueror went. Oh, there he is. And there goes the T-54E1. Conqueror spotted. Nothing artillery can do about it. 4 against 2, although, well, realistically it may as well be 4 against 1. What did that T-30 do? What did the ISU 152 do? We know where the Conqueror is, we know where the enemy artillery probably still is. But it's the T-30 and the ISU 152. This is not a great spot to be in. It's not a terrible spot to be in. He's got those rocks over there to protect him from enemy artillery. But this is not a great spot to be in for defending the cap against targets like that T-30, because the Yaeru has a great many things in its favour, but gun depression is not one of them. The T-30 on the other hand has very good gun depression and can very easily stay hull down and put shots into Dead Trix's lower glacis as he crests this rise in an attempt to get his gun pointing at him. So he can't really deal with the T-30 from here, but if he stays down here the T-30 can't deal with him either. And, well, Dead Trix's spider sense is tingling. He hasn't seen that Conqueror for a while, has he? Yep, there he is. Takes the shot and misses. Oh, that's not good. There's the hit from artillery, angles up, takes the hit in the tracks from the Conqueror, burns his repair kit. I think the Conqueror will probably get one more shot off before Dead Trix can reload. There it is. And it's immobilised him, but he has enough gun traverse to be able to put the final shot into and kill the Conqueror. Tracks back up. Repair kit still on cooldown. The T-30 has managed to deal with the artillery. Try to look on the bright side. This does mean that Dead Trix's survival is now, well, never going to depend on his having to rely on that Aegis. T-30 ISU 152, and let's not forget the GW Tiger P, who is probably going to be reloaded very, very soon, which means that Dead Trix really wants to get... Ooh, there it is. Didn't quite make it into cover. His tracks have been blown off again, but he is angled quite nicely. The T-30 can't miss at the... Well, actually, the T-30 can miss from that range. Wow. Oh, and there's the hit from the ISU 152. Okay, well, this is good news, bad news. We know where the ISU is, but if we're going to kill that T-30, we're going to have to expose the side of the machine to him. And the T-30 does get to reload and fire again. And the ISU gets to reload and fire again, but it's high explosive. It was a fairly large amount of high explosive, but it was high explosive and not armor piercing, and that tells us something about the ISU 152. But speaking of high explosive, back into cover around the rocks, because that GW Tiger P is almost certainly going to have reloaded. And, right. Once again, good news, bad news situation. He's not dead, but he only has 18 health remaining. It's interesting that that ISU was firing high explosive anymore. Now, I know the ISU no longer gets the infamous BL-10 troll cannon, but it does get a very, very nice armor-piercing anti-tank gun. Not particularly suited for firing high explosive shells, and the fact that the ISU was firing high explosive shells may indicate that he's stock and he only has the 152mm howitzer. Of course, when you have 18 health remaining, it doesn't really matter what gun that guy has equipped. He can kill you anyway. So, just over 2 minutes of this game remaining. The ISU was firing from around about over here. Dead Trix is heading north. With 2 minutes left, it's highly unlikely that he's going to win this game by camping, so the only possible way he can win this match, with 2 minutes remaining, or less than 2 minutes remaining, is that if the enemy artillery is heading towards him from the north, and the ISU is chasing to catch up with him from the south. Other than that, the best possible result he can hope for is a draw. And oh look, there's the enemy artillery, and he fires on the move and takes him out before he has the chance to shotgun him with his 210mm high explosive shells. Now, we did not catch any kind of indication that the ISU 152 was capping. So, here's the question. He now knows where Dead Trix is. The artillery spotted him. What's he doing? Because he probably wants to win just as much as Dead Trix does, and he's not going to win by capping either. So hopefully he's coming after Dead Trix, because that's the only way Dead Trix is going to win as well. And yep, there he is. And both of these guys are probably only going to get one shot at each other. The ISU fires and misses. If Dead Trix does not kill this guy with this shot, the ISU is going to get him on the reload. Dead Trix fires and hits, and it's a good damage roll, but it's not enough. Except it is, because he also sets him on fire and the ISU is too cheap to use a fire extinguisher and burns to death. And that's a win for Dead Tricks in the Jaegeru Jagdpanzer E100. A certain amount of luck there, I'm sure you'll agree. But being lucky rather than being good has certainly stood me in good stead over the years. So I'm not complaining. I hope you guys enjoyed that replay. Dead Tricks, thank you very much for sending it in. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.